Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today we are going to be working with this cute little room set. This is called Sweet Nursery. And then I'm just showing you, I put it on the inside of the card, but I didn't show you. This is the Welcome Baby inside sentiments, which are so amazing. Like, for years, nobody was ever creating inside sentiments, and I love that Honeybee has started to do that. And then I showed you the hot foiling, what are these called? Let me look. Wishes, foil script wishes. I did not end up using those. This is the second time I've gone to use them, and then by the time I got done with my card, it just didn't fit. So I will use them eventually. We're doing a scene card. I know, it's been a while since we've built a scene card, but this Sweet Nursery set lends itself so well to building a scene. You could totally use the pieces parts to just do a more traditional card, but you guys know I love a scene and a challenge, so here we are. A friend of mine sent me a text message recently and was like, hey, do you have any baby cards? Her nephew and his girlfriend are pregnant. She was like, they are doing a gender reveal, but I need a card to take with me, so I need something that's just neutral. So that's what we're doing here, folks. Gender neutral baby card. So I wanted to build myself a little room. What I'm doing here is just kind of blocking out the walls, the floor, and then I'm adding in a baseboard to break that up. And I'm just doing it with a ruler. For the way the floor should come out, you need it to come out at an angle. If you remember, like, way back in art class, I think I probably learned this maybe in middle school, like the bird's eye point of view, it needs to come out at an angle to make sense for the room to look how it's supposed to look. Then I wanted to do a little mural in the background. We'll talk about why in a minute, but I literally just picked my round acrylic block. I tried the cap for the Honeybee pressure tool and it was just a little too big. You could do this with a die or anything circular you have on your desk, and I did it all in pencil. I'm going to stamp my scene before I outline it in my Copic Safe pen because I don't want to put those lines in right through my images. This could have been a one-layer card, but I did end up popping up the chair, the cushion, and a little bunny at the end, but you could totally do this as one layer and not even have to do any masking if you left off the cushion and the bunny. This part right here, you could just stamp as one whole scene and then color it. I wanted to make mine just a little bit more interesting, which kind of got me in a little bit of trouble. You'll see that a little bit later on. But so I'm just going to stamp this down, and then I am going to outline those guidelines that I already drew in black, except for the sun. This is just an extra that I'm stamping because I do intend on die cutting out, like I said, the chair. I was on the fence about the crib, but the chair, the cushion, and the bunny, I did end up die cutting out so I could pop them up. The mural. Why did I put the mural on the wall? I'm going to tell you. So this particular nursery set is drawn in more of like a boho style, which is very trendy right now in home decor, like the minimalist look. What are they, like the macrame, like all these old school things are coming back in style. And so that is the style that this is drawn in. I think it's super cute. And especially like if you want to be the grandma that's on point with your baby cards, this is what's stylish right now. And I was actually chatting with one of the girls that I dispatch with. I call her a girl. She's in her 60s, woman. This woman I work with. And her son and his wife are pregnant with their first child. And she was like, you know, she's got this crib. It's like this super short crib. And she was like, you know, shouldn't it be taller? And she showed me the crib and I was like, dude, it's the style right now. And so I pulled up this card and showed her and she was like, yes, this is like exactly the look that they're going for because it is trending and it's very pretty and it's very simplistic. And that part is nice. You don't need a lot of pieces parts to make it work. But now that I have these outlined, I'm going to go in and erase my previous lines except for the sun. It will eventually be a sun. With the sun, I'm going to very lightly erase the line. If you put alcohol markers over pencil, you trap it in there and then you can't erase it. So I'm using I'm leaving just a very light outline. It's probably very hard to see on camera, just so that I can fill that in with my Copic markers, so that I have this big sun on the wall. These little mural things are also very trendy right now. Suns and clouds and just very simplistic designs. I considered doing one for Caitlin's room because I think they're super pretty, but I'm lazy and I don't want to repaint in, 3 years when she decides that she's not really into the baby stuff anymore. So I didn't. I just framed some pictures and put them on the wall, like the old school mom that I am. So parts of this are going to be sped up, mostly where I'm filling in a lot of color. This whole card is Copic colored, but you could do some masking and do it with distress inks or distress oxides. If you're going to do it with Copic markers, just make sure your strokes are all going the same way. So for like my walls, I'm making sure that all of my strokes are vertical, because if you were applying paint, that would be the way, you know what I mean? That would be the way that it was going, and you want it to look like everything goes together. Like they're all the strokes should be going the same way. So for my colors here, I really just stayed very neutral because that's what the boho style is. I'm going to be honest, I did feel like I was missing the color quite a bit, but that's because I am a person who likes color. Ultimately, I think the card turned out super cute, but I kept trying to find a way to add more color into it, and every way I tried just didn't go. It just didn't match. And so sometimes you just have to understand the images that you're working with and that they just don't work with that. Now, do I think that's because I had already done the floor and the wall? Yeah, I think it was. I think it's because I had already done those so neutral, that I just couldn't bring in the other colors like maybe I would have wanted to. I think that if I had gone with less browns, it would have been easier for me to bring in more of a rainbow color. And so I have another card to make. For another friend who recently had a baby. We're going to deliver the dresser that we did for her next week. And so I'm thinking maybe I might pull in the, what is it called? The rainbow set that Honeybee just released. Let me look. Rainbow Dreams. So I'm thinking that might be a little fun collage thing to put on the wall to bring in more color instead of the sun that I chose. But yeah, there's just kind of endless opportunities here to build these little nurseries that are super cute. So for the floor, I went with a hardwood look. The reason that I chose to do the hardwood floor is because I wanted another, I knew it was going to be in the same kind of color because of this, monochromatic minimalist look I'm going for, but I wanted it to be a different texture. I am speeding this up to do the wood grain. If you're interested in how I do the wood grain, I have a whole video on that. But I just sped through it this time because honestly, I didn't really spend a lot of time on it. I just did it super quick, so that I could get some texture in there. Ultimately, the images are going to be the focal point. So then once that is completed, I will add a little bit of shading to the baseboards. The warm grays seem to make more sense to me with this scene than the cool grays, even though my cool grays are usually my go-to. The warm grays just seem to make more sense with this particular color combination. But I do bring some of the cooler ones in a little bit later for like the moon and the bunny, just so that there's a little bit of difference. But now we're just going to slow down and do the regular Copic coloring at my normal speed. Speaking of speed, somebody had made a comment on one of my other videos and asked if I would do a video in real time. And the reason that I don't do them in real time is because like this is edited down to, 20 some minutes, but in reality I had about an hour and a half of footage. And so it's just unrealistic to be able to do the coloring in real time and post it on YouTube. But one of the things that YouTube does, which is really nice, is in your settings. So if you're watching the video and you click either the little gear on your, I think you have to open the little ellipsis, the little three dots, but there is a gear in there. And if you click on that, there's an option for playback speed. And so I would mute the video because obviously it's going to distort the audio. But if you need to see the coloring either slower, or if you're not interested in what I'm coloring and you'd like it to be faster, you can change your playback speed to make it as slow or as fast as you would like for your own personal viewing. Which is really nice. So, because if you want to see it in real time, I edit all of my videos at ×2. So if you want to see it in real time, you would just go 50%. And that would be the more realistic of how long it took me to actually color it versus the way that I present them. And I present them this way because the videos are already super long. I chose to do the curtain in these warm grays as well. Once it's all said and done, they do look more white and less gray once we start adding in a little bit of other colors. But again, you can make these whatever color you want. I was just going for a neutral, more monochromatic with like just little pops of color, which obviously I chose yellow. When I was doing my own kids' nurseries, Nathan's was, because I waited to find out both genders of my children until they were born. I didn't do a gender reveal, though those are super cute. Just not for me. I felt like, you know, that's one of the few genuine surprises that you get in life, and I like surprises. I wanted to be surprised. So Nathan's nursery was gray and yellow with elephants. And then Caitlin's theme was You Are My Sunshine. So she has, I picked out a grayish blue, but it really does look more blue on the walls. And then we did like the framed little lyrics of You Are My Sunshine, because Graham used to sing that all the time. And she's got some, you know, shelves and cloud shelves and stuff like that in her room. When Nathan got older, I let him pick his theme. He wanted Spider-Man at one point, and then when we moved to the new house, he switched over to more of a like Ford truck theme. And so I'll do the same for her as she gets older. She'll be able to pick whatever theme she wants, and then we'll switch it up probably once she gets into a toddler bed. I had to laugh a little bit at myself because I told you guys in the last video that I don't like being barefoot, that I'm always like I have flip-flops on or I have slippers on. So when I was coming up here to do this voiceover, Caitlin was napping in the family room, and in order to make it upstairs without waking her up, I literally took off my flip-flops and carried them and then snuck through my house like I was a burglar, like I was breaking into my own home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to try to get up here to do this voiceover without waking that baby up. Funny things you do as a parent, right? I mean, we're all just trying to survive. She is doing much better for those of you who have asked. We seem to be over the RSV for the most part. She still does have a little bit of a cough. And for some reason, whenever she eats, that baby gets a snotty nose. I'm not really sure why. Just something that happens to her. But we seem to be on the mend. I'm also super excited because Peanut is coming home today, and he should be home within the next 2 hours, which is why I'm doing the voiceover now. So that way, once he gets home, I can just spend my evening basically smothering him in hugs and kisses because I miss him so much. So I'm super excited for him to come back home. We are taking a vacation. Well, I mean, we're going to be on vacation the week after next. We're not really going nowhere. We're just gonna kind of do some staycations. We're hoping to maybe take him to the science center or to a water park or, you know, something like that. Eric wanted to take him go-karting. So just a couple of, you know, different things that we can do from home versus trying to take our 8-month-old driving somewhere. that's super challenging, and I commend people who do it. I did it with Nathan and it was nightmarish and I never want to do it again. So we'll wait to go beaching or traveling on vacation until she's just a smidge older. For the chair, I'm using those same warm gray colors. I really wanted, and you'll see it once we get past this part. I really wanted to add like a pattern or some more interest to the chair. I was feeling like my card looked so boring because it was missing all of this color. And so I wanted to add like a pattern or some texture. I tried stamping the rainbow that comes in this set on the chair. It was too big. Then I tried stamping like or doing like little stars, like rainbow colored stars. It didn't fit. And so finally I just accepted that I was going to have to do a neutral colored chair. Sometimes it doesn't work out. You got to give it a try. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's fine. It's just paper. You move on to the next thing. You try the next thing. Here, I am going to go back in with my colorless blender just to kind of blend out the lightest color, which is a W1. And that's always an option when you're coloring anything pastel or white. If you feel like you got a little heavy-handed, hit it with your colorless blender. So the way that I came up with a compromise for myself in order to add a little bit of more interest and texture to this chair is I'm going in with my white gel pen and I am doing polka dots. And they're very hard to see on screen, but in real life you can see them. And it just adds a little bit more interest to the chair. I'm going to move on to coloring this little cushion. Again, yellow seems to be my go-to color, so I am coloring the cushion yellow. And then I'm going to do the bunny in those cool grays, and I'm going to add a little bit of violet, a VO1 to the ears and to the belly. Why did I pick the VO1? First things first, I picked the VO1 because it's a color that I already used. I used it in the rainbow on the wall, but also it's the complementary color to yellow on the color wheel, and so they make sense together in this scene. So it's just a way to bring in like one little extra pop of color that's really subtle, that doesn't take away from the yellow, it complements it. So we have a couple of staycation ideas that we're going to be doing. Hopefully we have good weather and we can spend some time in our pool, because like I told you guys, I mean, even though we're in the middle of July, he starts school in the middle of August. So just trying to make the most of the time that we have. We're also considering getting a pool heater. Originally, we weren't going to get the pool heater until like we had waited, but then Eric made the very good point. Every once in a while he does that. I know. That if we were going to do the heater after the deck, that they would have to trench for the electrical under the deck, and that would probably be substantially more expensive. Here, on this little banner, like you could clearly stamp any one of the other images that's included in the set. I thought it would be super cute to kind of customize it. So my girlfriend, her nephew's last name starts with an L. So that is, I just hand drew a little cursive L in there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but I didn't want you wondering where the letter came from. I just drew it in there to make it just a little more customized for, her family member. Here I'm putting my dies in place to go ahead and run these through my Platinum 6 to cut them out. And then we're going to start assembling the card. So here you can see that rainbow that didn't work out. And then on the actual card, you can see the stars that didn't work out. So once I have this die cut out, I'm going to lay them in place so I know where I want them to go. And then I'm going to pop them up as one piece because that's just easier for me. So I'm going to use my honeybee glue to kind of secure them all together. And then I'll flip them over as one piece, add my foam tape, and flip them back over. So yeah, if you have some fun ideas that you have done as like kind of staycations with your kiddos to keep everybody entertained, please share them with me so we can maybe have some more ideas that maybe we hadn't thought of. I'm always open to ideas, just because, sometimes when you've always lived in a certain area, like sometimes you just get stuck in a rut and you're always doing the same things. So if you have some suggestions, I'm open. Here, completely filled this, I mean, like corner to corner, I filled it with foam tape. It was probably overkill. It's fine. It's fine. And then I'm going to adhere that down right over the stamped chair. And the reason that I stamped that chair to begin with was to just give myself placement for the rest of the items while I was building my, like, coloring in my scene. Once those are in place, you guys know this white outline and me are not friends, especially not in scene cards. So I'm going to go back in with my Copic markers and just fill in that white outline. Somebody had made a comment, like, why does the white outline exist? The white outline exists because for stamp companies, it's impossible to get them to cut right up against the line. You would have to have your placement perfect, and so more people would make errors with it than would be able to line it up perfectly, and so it's just not worth it, and I totally understand that. I decided to give my son some rays. I used my lightest color and then my mid-tone to do just some rays of sun on the wall. I just thought that was a little bit more whimsical and fun. Again, totally not necessary. And then I am going to add some shimmer to it because I don't care whose baby it is, they need shimmers. For the sentiment, like I said, originally I had planned on doing that hot foil, but it just didn't make sense. So I opted to use this welcome little one to kind of add it to the collage on the wall I already had going on. So I stamped it, and then I'm going to go ahead and die cut them out so that they stand out from the back of the card and feel more like a little sign on the wall. You know what I'm saying? So like I already have these 3 elements, and then I'm going to add in 2 more for that uneven number of 5. So nothing's paired and it looks like a genuine collage with the sun mural in the background. Here's that shimmer I was telling you about, just on a couple of the accessories that are in this room. And then that is it. That's the whole card. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope that you are inspired to give something in here a try, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.